everyone. Thank you so much for joining me on the Continue podcast. The Continue podcast. That's crazy. I'm so happy that this is now a reality. This has been one of my passion projects for such a long time. It's been a couple years since having a podcast has been spinning around in my mind a little bit. So before we get into a little bit more about the podcast itself, I want to introduce myself and generally thank you guys for being here, for listening. If you're listening to the audio, the video is also available on YouTube. And so a little bit about myself. My name is Karina Montoya. I play tennis for St. Leo University, and a little bit of my hobbies is that I like to sketch. I haven't done that in a while though. What I've done recently is I've been reading, and I've been coloring recently when I have some time, but I am studying pre-med, so most of my time has been studying. But I am a huge coffee fan. Everyone who knows me knows that I love coffee. So I'll be at a coffee shop studying. And yeah, so I do not only do I work out for tennis, but I like to work out because I always feel better. It helps me relieve stress, relax. And so that's a little bit about myself. Another thing is that I'm married. I got married last year, and we had a beautiful wedding over the summer. But a little bit about the Continue podcast and why it's here and why you're here now is because I wanted to share some encouragement, some inspirations that has personally helped me, and I think that it's able to help others as well. A little disclaimer is that I am not a professional. These are just things that have helped me over the years. And maybe it can help you too. Just take everything I say with a grain of salt. But this podcast is named Continue because I wanted to focus on different routes where we continue in different places in our life. Life is one continuous journey of personal growth in different areas. And I wanted to talk about how we can continue not only in different areas, but different key characteristics in our lives, like character traits and stuff like that. And today I think I wanted to jump right into talking about continuing amidst failure and continuing when there is self-doubt. So I wanted to talk about how we are able to continue when we've recently gone through a failure, quote unquote failure, and how we can pick ourselves up and continue even though we failed at something that we tried really hard at. It can be anything. You can apply this to anything. So personally for me, when I consider something a failure, what I've been trying to do is honestly just try to see what I can learn from it, because at the end of the day, another thing that goes along with that is setting yourself a goal in different areas. Like for example, I'm gonna use tennis and school because that's kind of what's been taking up most of my life recently. So when I fail in either athletics or academics, I remind myself of the goal. In academics, it's more geared towards my career, my future career, and then academics is based off more of my performance. If I perform the way I wanted to, not necessarily the win or lose situation, but just kind of growing as a tennis player. So the first question I ask myself is, did I perform the way I want to? In academics, it can be a little bit more clear to see because it's either a pass or a fail. But so once we establish that, did we perform the way we wanted to? we have to be realistic with ourselves and ask ourselves, did we? Once we're realistic with ourselves, we can then go on and kind of, what helps me is that I list out everything, kind of like a brain dump that I did or didn't do to help me get myself to that position. And once I realize why I may have failed that test or why I may have performed poorly, then I can go on and make a game plan for the future performance. And something that goes along with failure, or when you've been wanting to do something but you haven't like been wanting to start, an advice that I would say is, if you can't stop thinking about it, then it's for a reason. Then don't stop working for it. If something's just on your mind continuously, like something that you've been wanting to do for so long, somewhere that you've been wanting to go for so long, like a chance that you've been wanting to take, I would say there's a reason for that, and take some time to meditate. And when I mean meditate, I mean like think about it. So limit your, like, take away your distractions and then just think. Either when you're going to bed, lie in your bed and think about what it is that hasn't been able to leave your mind. It could be like a passion project, it can be literally anything, like a career, maybe like a person that you've been wanting to pursue, or like maybe you got into a fight with a family member. It can be anything, but if it hasn't left your mind, then there's probably a reason for that. And another thing is, so yeah, there's continuing when you have failed, and then continuing or starting something that has been on your mind. But then there is this thing that we all know and do not love. It's called self-doubt. And self-doubt starts to creep in our minds, and it starts to tell us that maybe we should just stop and not continue. Maybe it's for the best if we just quit. Maybe it's for the best if we choose a different career path. Maybe it's for the best that we just stay like on the down low for a while and just rot in our beds. We doom scroll and we just not do anything, because it's better than doing something and then just failing at it and feeling the way we feel after we fail. Because let me tell you, there's been times where specifically there was one time where I performed very, very poorly. I was very, very nervous, and it was not good. I was very upset with myself for a couple of months, and like, yes, I know this is like just like in the grand scheme of things, like tennis, but it's something that I've worked on, so it's something that I've put my energy towards and stuff like that. So like I said, apply this to anything else. But for me, it was something that I worked on, and I was upset because I did not perform like I wanted to, like anything like I wanted to. And I didn't have the strength to continue. It can be hard. But that's why we have to remind ourselves of the goal, and not only that, but we have to give ourselves grace, and we have to forgive ourselves. We have to forgive ourselves because sometimes we have a mindset of where we should be at a certain point, and that's not fair to ourselves, because everyone's journey is different, and most likely you made that expectation in your head based off of society standards, or based off what society says that you should be at a certain age, or when you have been playing or have been doing something for a certain amount of years. Society says that you should be here, but if you're here, you're gonna feel like a failure, and it's gonna be hard to continue, because you're gonna be like, well, I'm already behind. And like academics or something, like if you're failed a test and you're like, You know what I mean? It can be all these different things, but that's why once you have your goal and you just keep reminding yourself of that, why you're doing it, forgive yourself, give yourself grace. Something that has helped me a lot is tell yourself that you're human. Remind yourself that you're human. We're human. Me personally, I'm a perfectionist, and so that kind of it goes along with what I'm saying, because when I'm not able to do something to perfection, then I don't want to do it. And I put, if you're listening to audio, I said perfection in air quotes because nothing necessarily can be perfect. And so we have to remind ourselves that we're human, that nothing's going to be perfect, but we have to do the best that we can with what we have at the moment. This also kind of goes into how it was about a year and a half ago where it was very trendy to romanticize our lives. And don't get me wrong, I have nothing wrong with romanticizing our lives. I do it. I drink my coffee in cute cups. I plan out different things and different ways that make me happy. I have different clothing that makes me happy, like that I'm able to that gets me through the day in a little bit of a better mood, stuff like that. But the problem that I think that there is sometimes is that we're romanticizing our future instead of romanticizing our present, and it's not a good thing, because nobody knows what the future holds. We don't know what our future holds, and so if we're romanticizing our future and putting all these expectations and pretty lights around our future, even though we don't know what is actually gonna hold, then that's how we disappoint ourselves. And so let's start with romanticizing today, what we can do today to go towards our next goal, step by step, instead of the future. And surround yourself with people that believe in you and get excited for you and your goals. And because sometimes we're not able to, but when we surround ourselves with people who do, it becomes just a little bit easier. And if you do not have that type of people around you right now, I would recommend trying to find some people that will believe in you. But just know that I believe in you, that I believe that you can go for your dreams, and that you can start today, that you can forgive yourself, give yourself grace, and love yourself enough to give yourself a chance to follow your dreams. But yeah, so that was a little bit about myself and a little bit of how the dynamic will be of the Continue podcast, where I give a little bit of advice or talk a little bit about continuing during a certain topic or subject. Let me think if I've missed anything else about myself, because I did introduce myself a little shortly and jump straight in. There's nothing I can think of at the moment, but follow me on Instagram at the Continue podcast to get more notifications of when I will be uploading another episode, and subscribe to the Continue podcast on YouTube to watch the videos. But I hope you did enjoy this video. You can always leave a comment down below, or leave a comment of anything in specific that you may want to hear about continuing in a certain topic, suggestions about Future episodes are always like wanted. But yeah, bye guys.